Hey, what is going on, guys? So today we're going to be talking about that ban list that came out yesterday, and the reason that you see me looking like a filthy scrub right now is because this ban list is a time for us scrubs to be happy because they finally, neutered those, top tier decks like, Shaddoll's, Burning Abyss, Necros, Ritual Beast to an extent, Cleave Forts, even Satellar Knights, all those, six decks that have kind of been around in the game for about a year or so and have kind of been mainstays in the game and that top tier finally got the hits that I feel like it deserved for the most part. So some of the big changes with this list, probably the most surprising one was Evil Swarm Exciton Knight getting banned. That is definitely one that I didn't see coming, and I can probably say that most others didn't see coming. And it's hard for me not to be a little biased on this because, I was in I was on break at the college yesterday when I actually saw the ban list online, and I'm just like, wait a minute. I have this $30 card that's now gonna be like $5. Yeah, didn't see that coming. Um, but yeah, I think the biggest reason Exciton Knight ended up getting banned is to kind of make way for some of the new Pendulum decks coming out in the next couple sets. Obviously, you have the Pendulum Magicians, Magus Specters, and a few other things. So, Exciton Knight can be a bit broken against those Pendulum decks, considering that you can hit them on their turn and just completely destroy their Pendulum scales, and then on the opponent's turn, potentially you can also punish them as well. So, I guess I see it, even though I don't really think it should have been banned. Construct got banned. El Shaddoll Construct. That's a little harsh. I mean, I could have seen the card go to 1, and it would have, balanced out the deck enough, I think, Shaddoll's. Especially with El Shaddoll Fusion also going to 1. But, yeah, banning Construct almost makes the deck nearly unplayable, so that definitely takes care of the problem there. With Cleave Forts, you have a Pocket Cleave Fort Towers banned, which means we no longer have to put in those terrible cards just to out towers. Cards like Diamond Crab King, which isn't a bad card, but it's not really a rank 4 staple other than for dealing with towers. And then cards like Injection Fairy Lily, stupid things like that. So it's nice to have that out of the game. Cleave Fort Scout goes to 1, so the consistency of regular Cleave Forts are hit a bit, so that's good. Reinforcement of the Army goes to 1, which affects a lot of decks. Obviously, it affects the Tower Knights. It affects any other warrior deck like Noble Knights, Six Samurai, which got Shien to free, which really doesn't mean anything. And it also hurts Necros, since a lot of Necros decks like to play 2 to 3 Rhoda, even when Sharit was at 1. Just to kind of get that search for Klausulus and Sharit to get their plays going. And then speaking of Sharit, Sharit is now banned, which is another bit of a surprising move there. It's one of those things where I feel like the other moves that Necros had, the Rhoda to 1, Unicorn to 1, Embryonic to 1, was enough to really slow the deck down a bit to where it could still function, but it wouldn't be nearly as dominant as it's been over the past half a year. But definitely, taking it a step farther and banning Sharit should definitely make it to where they're having to work a bit harder for their ritual plays and they're not plussing as much, so that's a good thing. So that definitely will take them down a peg, in my opinion. And Burning Abyss, you had, I believe it was Graph go to 2 and 0 to 1, if I'm not mistaken there. So you kind of hurt their consistency a bit there and just kind of, hurt a lot of just the loopy plays that they would have with both Seer and Graph, so that's always a good thing. Makes it harder for them to access those cards, which really get a lot of their plays going. So it's Burning Abyss. Ritual Beast had Kanahawk go to 1, which was interesting. Really looking at Ritual Beasts, I mean, they've been a pretty solid deck for a while. They've never really gone to that next step of being like a solid tier 1, but, they've always kind of been around. It's basically been one of those decks where if you go in underestimating the deck and not really thinking it can be a threat, then you have a problem, but if you know how to deal with it, then it's not too bad. But Kanahawk going to 1 definitely slows down the consistency a bit, and if they end up losing that one Kanahawk without getting its effect, then they're really behind for the rest of the game. So that definitely should hurt that deck a bit. So let's see, Shaddoll's of course had Construct banned and El Shaddoll Fusion go to 1. Mathematicians also at 1. Which definitely affects Shaddoll's. It affects Burning Abyss a bit since some Burning Abyss decks like to play 2 Mathematicians. A lot of those other rogue decks out there, especially like some of the decks like Clowns that play Mathematician and Zectors that play Mathematician, that definitely affects them a bit. And then some things we got back. We got Spellbook of Fate back to free, so that's been something Spellbook players have been wanting for a while. It'll be interesting to see if they actually come up and do anything because Spellbook of Fate's a pretty busted card. I mean, just being able to banish a card for free and not even target the card. Like, it's pretty much one of the few cards that work around almost anything. Like, Spellbook of Fate was one of the best outs you could have to Pocket Cleave Towers that's actually searchable in Spellbook. So having 3 of those will be interesting. Then Gear is back at 3 as well, which should be interesting for Gears. Kind of unsure as to what variant will actually be the best to utilize Gear at 3 for this format. A lot of people are saying that Gear Car Curry could be viable again with that at 3 because there's a very aggressive deck that can OTK out of nowhere and just make a bunch of synchro plays. So we'll have to see there. I'll definitely probably have to adjust my variant of the deck, the Thug deck, to make room for the Gear at 3. I may even scrap that variant altogether and just go more towards a pure Gear build with the Gear Gianos and everything. So let's see if I can think of anything else here. Some interesting things that were left out. Instant Fusion was not hit, so we still have the free Instant Fusion, free Node to deal with for a while. And there is also the ability to do the whole Blaze Phoenix FTK thing with that, although that hasn't really been popping up too much lately. Nothing got hit for Chicken Game, and that's okay, honestly. It's something that a lot of people wanted to see, hit with last format with like World Magical Library being banned or Magical Explosion being banned, but it really hasn't done anything yet, so I guess we'll have to wait and see on those to see if somebody finally figures out that right build that can really be consistent enough to actually be a threat. Ptolemaeus also remained unhit with Cyber Dragon Infinity coming in January, so we will have to deal with those rank 4 decks that can just easily be able to make Infinity or make other things. And then of course something I didn't cover in the last discussion video I did for the Astral Pack 8 and the Breakers of Shadow news is that we are getting the Traptrix XYZ, which definitely should be another card that really kind of impacts the meta because it's just a card that can search out a powerful trap from the deck and play it right there when it's appropriate. So that's really powerful to just be able to be like, hey, I don't have bottomless in my hand at all, but hey, you summon a monster that's big, I'll bottomless it from the deck. Oh, hey, you want to activate that special summon effect? Hey, I'll activate Traptrix Trapple Nightmare from the deck. And it's 2500 defense, protects Traptrix monsters from targeting and destruction. I mean, that's pretty good, and it'll make pure Traptrix themselves actually be pretty viable. So looking ahead now to this coming format, which will actually start on November 9th, that's when a new list takes effect. Definitely Cosmos are going to be a very powerful deck, with a lot of the other meta decks being really watered down now with this list. Infernoids definitely have a chance to shine as well, considering they have everything there. They didn't get an extra monster gate or anything, but they're still pretty powerful, and they have a decent Cosmo matchup as well. Yang Zing could be a sleeper pick for a deck that actually kind of rises up tiers, because it's been a deck that's been there forever, hasn't been hit, and has the ability to make Trish, which is always a good thing. So Tower Knights, even with Rhoda to 1, they have a chance to be a pretty solid deck as well. Nothing else in the deck really got hit, so that's definitely got a chance there. And you could definitely see some like anti-meta rogue decks kind of rise with some of the new sets that are coming out. Of course, with Docs, we got a couple things there. Dimension of Chaos, and then we also have all the things that are coming in Breakers of Shadow. So you could see some decks that are geared towards stopping those decks, some anti-meta decks like this Barrier Statue Stun deck that I've been seeing online, kind of build some momentum lately. That could be a decently viable option. I think Yosenju's even, as much as people are probably going to give me hate for saying that Yosenju's could do anything, I actually think they have a chance to do something. They have free lose 1 turns, they have an emptiness, they have macro. They're just a normal summon spam deck that can get over any rogue deck, and I mean the decks that were meta that gave them a problem now are pretty watered down and aren't as consistent anymore. So Yosenju's at least I think have a chance to be a little bit better. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, that's really all I've got as far as what I think about this ban list and also for the format going forward. I for one am definitely very excited to see the game freshen up a bit and us go to a new what feel I will actually feel like a new format with some different decks kind of there in that top tier. So that is it for this discussion video, guys. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, when it comes to ads, don't skip it, just click it. And I will catch you guys next time.